Welcome to The Explainer. You look around, you see rates of chronic disease and obesity rising everywhere, and you can't help but wonder, are we missing something really basic in our education? Today, we're diving into a critical and honestly often forgotten life skill that might just hold the answer.
So let's start with a big question. What if the solution to our massive health crisis isn't some new miracle drug or the latest fad diet, but a skill? A skill we've simply let slide. One that could empower every single one of us, right from childhood, to navigate the crazy, complicated world of food.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1, a forgotten life skill. So what is this skill we're talking about exactly?
Okay, so what exactly is food literacy? Well, it's so much more than just knowing a carrot is good for you. I mean, we all know that, right? It's a whole toolkit of practical, real-world skills. Things like how to plan your meals for the week, manage a food budget, pick the right ingredients at the store, and then actually know what to do with them in the kitchen. It's the how-to guide for a healthy diet.
I absolutely love how experts Helen Vigen and Danielle Gallegos put this. They call it scaffolding, and that is such a perfect metaphor. Think about it. Scaffolding is a temporary support structure you use to build something strong, something that's going to last. That's what food literacy does. It helps us build what they call dietary resilience. That's our ability to see through confusing health claims and all the clever food marketing. It's like our own personal defense system.
So here's the bottom line. This isn't about a one-time class or a quick lesson. It's about building those lifelong habits that put you back in the driver's seat of your own health. It is empowerment, pure and simple. Now, if this skill is so foundational, you'd think it would be a huge part of school, right? Well, not so much. It turns out there's a massive blind spot in our curriculum. Which brings us to section 2.
2.6%. Take a guess what that number represents. It's the tiny, almost invisible sliver of the entire school curriculum in Victoria, Australia that's actually dedicated to food and nutrition. I mean, wow. That single number tells you pretty much everything about where this skill sits on the priority list.
So why? Why is it being pushed to the side? Well, it's a few big systemic things that put teachers in a really tough position. First off, the curriculum is already jam-packed. English and math, they naturally take top billing. Then there's the fact that there just aren't a lot of great, ready-to-go resources for this. And on top of it all, a lot of teachers will tell you they just don't feel that confident teaching. And then you've got maybe the trickiest part of all, the social barrier. This quote from a teacher, it just gets right to the heart of it. There's this feeling that talking about food at school can feel like you're interfering with choices made at home. You can hear the hesitation in their voice, right? I'd love to have that discussion, but it's just not my place. That's a huge hurdle to overcome. So we have a curriculum that's already overflowing and these really sensitive social barriers. It kind of feels like an impossible problem, doesn't it? But what if the answer isn't about trying to cram more in? What if there's a smarter, more, elegant way to do this? Let's talk about that in section 3.
Here's the real game-changing idea. The solution isn't to create a brand new Food 101 class that teachers have to somehow find time for. No, the idea is so much smarter. It's to weave food literacy into the subjects we already teach every day. It's called cross-curricular learning, and it's pretty much the perfect answer to that crowded curriculum problem.
And just think about how this would work in practice. In math class, you're not just doing abstract problems, you're calculating portion sizes or the energy density of your favorite snack. In geography, you're studying your own local food systems and where your food actually comes from. History class becomes a journey through how our food and culture have evolved. And English class is the perfect place to learn how to critique and deconstruct the sneaky language of food ads. All of a sudden, every subject feels more connected to real life.
And what's crucial here is that this approach doesn't take away from those other subjects. It actually makes them better. Senior researcher Margaret Miller notes that it enhances them, making them way more relevant and applied to daily life. It just makes learning stick.
So, we've got the problem, and we've got this really smart solution on the table. But how do we actually make it a reality? How do we go from a good idea to standard practice? That's what we'll cover in our final section, making it foundational.
Well, the good news is the people on the front lines are already on board. A major IPAN study found overwhelming support for this integrated approach from both teachers and health professionals. There's a clear consensus here.
This is the way forward. To really make this happen, food literacy needs a bit of a promotion. Right now, our curriculum has what are called cross-curriculum priorities, big concepts like sustainability and indigenous history that are considered so important they're woven into every subject. The proposal is simple. Food literacy is just as fundamental to a child's future. It deserves the exact same status.
So what's the game plan? It really boils down to 4 clear steps. 1. We need strong leadership from both the health and education sectors, working together. 2. We need to officially treat food literacy as a core priority, not an afterthought. 3. We have to develop great curriculum-aligned resources that actually support teachers in the classroom. And 4. Foster real collaboration between everyone involved to bring it all to life.
So when you step back and look at the health challenges we're facing, the conclusion is just unavoidable. Making sure every child learns these skills isn't a nice-to-have. It's not an optional extra we can just skip. Food literacy is not optional. It's foundational.